Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Haslingden, 30 miles or 50 kilometres due north of Manchester in the UK, on Wednesday the 9th of November 2011. I'm going to talk today a little bit about history. Now, this may seem a long way from the subject, but I don't have a TV license. And why don't I have a TV license? Because I don't have a TV. As far as I'm concerned, the BBC, with its own private little tax system called the TV license, has too much money for its own good. They make fabulous programmes, but with that much money, they could hardly fail. Now, I discovered something like a year ago the wonders of the BBC iPlayer. And it's very good because they choose the best programmes and put them on the iPlayer, and you can watch them after the event, after they've been shown on TV. Now, the beauty of that is that you don't need a licence to watch programmes after the event, because they're not broadcast through the air, so to speak. So I've been delighted to be able to watch the best programmes free. Although nothing is free in this life, because we're all intertwined in a way. But anyway, the only problem is that I often hear about good programmes on other channels. Well, I discovered that Channel 4 also has its own iPlayer. And you can look it up at www.channel4.com. And you can find the BBC iPlayer by looking on the BBC News website, and you'll find a link to it at the top. And the Channel 4 iPlayer isn't quite as slick as the BBC iPlayer. Nevertheless, a short while ago I was able to watch the 7 o'clock news at 9:30 in the evening, when it suited me. And I only discovered the Channel 4 iPlayer a few days ago. And I came across a documentary about the Second World War. And on this documentary, they showed D-Day and subsequent events. The bridges at Arnhem and the Market Garden campaign and so on. They actually interviewed soldiers still alive who fought as the documentary proceeded, and it brought it to life as very few other things can do. One American soldier had chunks of his face blown away, and then a hole in his foot, and so on and so forth. And what I'm coming to is that one of the soldiers, talking presumably about the Holocaust and the things that were done under the Nazis, was asking, how can they do this to people? How could they do this to people? Well, we're all still rather stunned by the Holocaust. It's still so close to us in time that we find it difficult to accept that people actually did this. And there are still people around the world who think it didn't. They think it's a propaganda by Jewish organisations. Well, today I've started to read A People's History of the United States. The author is called Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn. And it's very well written. Now, I've only reached page 31, and this, what I've read so far, has occasioned me to make this little broadcast. And I've been reading about how the Spanish, when they invaded, when they colonized effectively South America and parts of North America initially, how they treated the natives, and then later how the English treated the Indians in North America, the Pilgrim Fathers and so on and so forth. And then later, how we treated the blacks, the slaves who were brought from Africa to work the fields and the plantations of America. And one of the reasons why they turned to importing black slaves was because they couldn't tame the Indians. The Indians wouldn't work for the white man. Even if they were captured, they would run away and so on. But this didn't apply with the blacks. So approximately 10 million blacks were brought into America, but some 20 million died in the process, because many of them had to march hundreds of miles into captivity in Africa till they reached the ports where they were put on board the ships, and they'd be kept in cages on the beach. And then they were put in ships where they had to lie flat because they couldn't sit up, because the space was only so big, just long enough for a man to lie down, but only so big. And they were chained like that with no toilet, so months on end. Well, and then what was done to the Indians was almost as bad. And when I read this, I thought to myself, I remembered what this American soldier had said. How could they do this to human beings, to other people? And I began to ask myself, how could we have done this to the blacks and to the Indians? How could we? And yet we did. We have the evidence. Go to the museum in Liverpool and you can see for yourself. It's on the waterfront there. I forget the name of it, but it's about the slave trade. But you go to the museum in Liverpool and you tell me if you don't feel ashamed to be British. And when I read this first 30 pages or so of our people's history of the United States, I felt rather ashamed to be a member of the human race. And today I was thinking about this. It was flitting in and out of my mind. And I thought to myself, well, you often hear people say, including presidents, God bless America. Well, maybe somebody should start saying, God forgive America, and God forgive Britain, and God forgive Spain. And maybe what happened to us, Europeans, in the 2 world wars was just retribution for what we did to the blacks. We treated them appallingly, abysmally, terribly, dreadfully, wickedly, sinfully. It almost beggars belief what we did to these people. We didn't see them as human beings. We just saw them as pounds and pence. Or as we used to say when I was young, pounds, shillings and pence, in the days when we had proper money. So that's my thought for today. It's a long way from a TV license, but you get the picture, I think. And I'm going to close now. God bless, while it's still legal in the UK to say God bless. Take care and bye for now.